All right. Hello, everybody. Beagle Boy here. And today I'm going to be kind of addressing the state of things on what exactly is going on. And while this isn't really the easiest decision for me to do, it is one that I've pondered on for a minute. And I'm going to say for right now, before anyone jumps the gun, I have decided to temporarily retire the stream format until I can find a better way to rejuvenize the format. Now, to explain why I'm doing this is because of a dissatisfaction current with the current outlook that I've had ever since I came back earlier this summer, because part of me is what, because if you all remember, when I started doing these kind of streams like a few years ago, ever since I kicked off Beagle Clan, I used to really enjoy talking about certain things that I was passionate about when it came to media, when it came to certain what ifs or really just anything that I was interested in talking about. However, it's sort of just come to a point where I don't, where trying to strike a balance between whether or not I'm satisfied with streams or whether or not anyone else that watches these are satisfied. Because to kind of put it lightly, if I can get this to kind of so I'm going to pull up share screen and kind of show what I am talking about, because if I do, things will probably make way more sense as a result. So, for anyone so to kind of relay this back, so at the beginning here, Beagle Clan episode 1, What If Disney Never Bought Out Marvel, is where I kind of jumped into these streaming things like as my main outlet on this channel. And for a while, I really liked doing so, having people that have come and go, like, when we used to talk about things like Disney, Mortal Kombat, Nintendo. We even got everybody together to do Cards Against Humanity, but add our own unfilteredness to the matter. But after a while, like, even when we couldn't get everybody on board, and like for the remaining other streams where it just wound up being myself and a former co-host, like, things were still like pretty healthy, like view wise, in the grand scheme of things when I had Firelord on board. But as soon as I announced he was no longer going to be with this channel, ever since I announced his departure, it seemed like after a while nobody just seemed interested in doing these streams. So or let alone watching them. So when it came to that point, like, I never planned on doing, reaction streams to trailers. I just simply did it because I was just really excited for Sonic the Hedgehog 3 that came out. We brought back Cards Against Humanity, 23 views, 22, 27. And then, I just kind of fell out of the face of the earth because for a while I was sort of just like, well, because at first I was kind of angry, but I also like just, said, what's the point in doing these? Because it sort of just became evident that, like, when we had Firelord on board, as the co-host, it seemed like nobody really wanted to watch these, especially the epiphany came when Cards Against Non-Humanity happened. Episode 3 happened because, at a certain point it was like, getting only half of the views from the last one. So for a while I was going through different phases. First one was pretty much like, was very angry, where I was like, if they can't handle me at Cards Against Non-Humanity, why should I do Beagle Clan again? Because, here I am trying to experiment and all. But I also kind of started to bargain a bit and thought, like, maybe I'm just not promoting it enough, because for a while, a lot of my outreach was, when I networked through other streams, and, once Firelord left, it seemed like the crew was not, it was a mix of the crew not easy to work with, as well as just people not, really interested in clicking on them, because it was like, so, I thought after the hiatus and I came back, everything was fine. So once Firelord no longer became the main, like, target, like, talking point on the channel, it then turned to a while where after a year, I officially come back with Breaking the Silence, and I give my testimony on Kyle Johnson and how much of a big mistake it was for me to be around him. Everyone watched them. So I thought, okay, everything's rejuvenized. I'll get a second wind and remember why I liked doing these. And nothing really came out of it. Breaking the Silence, 89 views. Sonic Anniversary tier list, celebrating the 35th anniversary of Sonic, only got 21 views. And then Top 10 Movies to Know Me By got only 16. But then I also did shorts, and one I did was a parody of Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us, aimed towards Kyle, 81 views. So pretty much at first I was kind of bargaining at okay, maybe I'm just not promoting these streams enough or these videos enough, but maybe it's the algorithm not pushing, smaller users. But then we also get actual pre-recorded videos come back. Most annoying quest so far from Fallout 3, 2 weeks and about 60 views as is. So it kind of ruined that viewpoint on my end, because I had a very hard time believing that, people could just find a random AI generated song, no problem, but people would just somehow skip out on a tier list as is. But that's when I also started to feel a bit depressed and felt worthless about it, because I was like, if they are finding these streams, what is that really telling me? And the conclusion that I came to, which wasn't exactly the most healthy or even the most sane one, was that I thought to myself, maybe these people weren't actually here for me. Maybe they didn't actually cared about what I had to say and really just only use this channel to pretty much torch at Firelord and Kyle. So that's where I started to fall right back at square one. So as I share screen again, I went over and did this post right over here where I asked people, where I was like, hey, if I ever stopped doing live streams one day and just focused on pre-recorded videos similar to my Fallout 3 video, would you guys still watch? And pretty much by an outright, mandate, everyone said yes, that they would still watch. So while it was reassuring, it definitely kind of gave me the gut punch that I needed to kind of continue on. So with that being said, this isn't, when it comes to streams in general, this isn't a goodbye permanently. This is only goodbye for now, until I can find a way to rejuvenize them in a way that will actually satisfy both ends. But now that I'm no longer doing streams, what will I be doing with this channel, you are probably wondering. Well, that's where I'm going to give a sneak peek and show you all, if this will allow it, but I will officially be throwing my hat into the ring in terms of spriting content. Since I've been getting a better grasp on how GIMP works, and now that I've done my hand at when it comes to spriting while using different technological formats, I will officially be joining my hat into the spriting scene. Now, whether or not this means I will. Now, what this will exactly look like, I can't confirm or deny anything, nor will I give like a set, deadline on like what exactly will come out when it will, because if I do, then I'm just only rushing things and giving half-assed demands. And that being said, I will now be officially joining my hat into the spriting scene, kind of coming full circle how I originally wanted to start this channel back in 2021. And so, with that being said, that is going to briefly kind of cover what that will be covering this stream. Thank you all so much for watching. If you all liked what you've seen, then go ahead and give this a thumbs up. If you want to see more, feel free to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified. If you have anything you want to say, feel free to put it in the comments. And I will be seeing you guys next time, whenever that may be. So, with that being said, have a wonderful day. Peace out.